Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Sensibly Cynical. Today's guest is Megan Nadin. She is a singer-songwriter out of Canada, now living in Nashville, Tennessee. Amazing artist, even better person. This was a fun interview, and I know you will enjoy this one. So, here's my chat with Megan Nadin. All right, everybody, joining me now, singer-songwriter Megan Nadin. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thanks for joining me tonight.
Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to chatting with you.
Yeah. So I was listening to your stuff on YouTube, and you're amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, so how did you get started?
Well, when it comes to sharing music, that's kind of a bit of a new journey for me. I started sharing it openly in 2017, but I've always kind of had a heart for writing and singing, but kind of kept it to myself.
Right, so is there a specific, moment, do you all right, I'm going to try to take this thing seriously, like this hobby, and turn it into like a business, or?
Yeah, so I had taken a trip abroad to Cambodia, actually, and when I was there for about a month, and I was teaching in a children's home, and my last week there, I started singing to some of the kids, just because, I don't know, children, it's so different. You don't feel like the judgment and all that stuff, and I'm definitely really critical on myself, and I was just kind of in the moment and started singing, not really thinking much about it, and they really liked it, and then it kind of became a thing, and when I told my mom about it, she's like, you should just think about sharing a song or something of that nature, with someone that you trust and you're comfortable with. And so I ended up sharing a song that I wrote with my best friend. Her name is Tanya, and I was terrified, but when I was done, she told me that I should actually think about pursuing it and, sharing my passion with other people. And so I think it was that spark of confidence from her that kind of made me think twice about, okay, you know what, maybe I should pick more than just her to share this with. And slowly it kind of started to come together.
What year was this?
This was when I went to Cambodia, it was actually in 2013. And so I shared it with her then. And I was in the middle of finishing up a teaching degree.
Oh, so, I'm a substitute teacher.
Pardon me?
I said I'm a substitute teacher.
No way.
Yeah.
What grades do you teach?
Just anything.
Yeah. I'm primary junior, so I have a special spot in my heart for the little ones. But yeah, I just told myself I wanted to finish that and kind of started sharing my music, my songwriting with more people here and there as I was finishing my education. And then when I graduated, I kind of went for it. Yeah, so I did, before we get into the music or the specific songs, I did a little homework, and I found it's your website, so I found some descriptive words about you that I would like to get some, if you could expound on. I wrote them down. As it says, to be an honest and authentic voice to those in need, to provide hope through altruistic platforms. Can you expound on that? Can you expound on that and what that means to you? Yeah, so why I decided to kind of go down this music path is, I was so moved by my experience in Cambodia. And I thought if I could create music and write songs that allow me to generate an income, how amazing would it be to use my platform to advocate for people that are in the same situation and circumstances that I worked with in Cambodia, as well as be able to take proceeds from that income and donate it back to them. So a huge part of the driving force in my music is not only connecting with people through songs that I write, but I have hoped to create a platform that allows me to advocate and be a voice for those who need it, the people who maybe, don't have the platform themselves or, are overlooked or underheard. And
if they hear your music, it's an inspirational lyrics. Is that you want to provide, you're just not doing lyrics just to do lyrics. You want to do lyrics that mean something, right?
I do. It's really important to me that I do. And I love writing songs. I'm trying to, step away from being so tied to stories just as a songwriter because I'm trying to grow. And, finding, like, for an example, writing a song about the waves. I know that's really generic, but, like,
right.
being descriptive about that and making it into something beautiful, I think would be really cool as well. But there's something really special to me about being able to share a song that I wrote when I'm in a specific emotion, feeling, place in my life that I can share and, people can listen to and think, okay, you know what, me too. And I'm someone who gets caught in my head a lot, and I've definitely struggled with anxiety. And I find I write some of my best music when I'm in some of my lowest places. And so if I can share those, uncomfortable moments and make them into something beautiful and something that someone can relate to and find hope in, I think it's a pretty special thing.
Yeah, I agree. So where are you from originally?
I am originally from Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada.
Yeah, Canadian. I like it. Yeah, I actually had a Canadian artist on not too long ago, Live Chaos. He's pretty cool.
I'll have to look into him.
He does he's like a beat maker.
Oh,
right?
Very cool.
So he could just do, lines off the top,
That is very cool.
So he's one of those guys. All right, so you're from Canada. So it says Nashville on your website. So talk about that transition to the States, if you don't mind.
Not at all. So when I first started putting myself out there, I ended up going to this showcase in the Greater Toronto area. And it was the first time I'd ever sang in front of an audience. And there was a vocal coach that was hosting the boot camp, like the vocal boot camp side of this workshop / showcase that I was a part of. Mm-hmm. And so she asked if I was working with anyone, and I wasn't. And we started working together. And she had done some networking in Nashville and had developed some really good relationships. And she had thrown a showcase just, I guess, for this development company out of Nashville to come down and scout out some Canadian artists. Mm-hmm. And so I connected with them, and I ended up working with their development company and just coming here to Nashville, here and there, and just networking. And I ended up developing some really great relationships, and it led to some pretty cool opportunities that provided me the chance to move here. I moved here a year and a half ago, so right before things got crazy with the pandemic.
How has the pandemic changed, like, your professional life, like when it comes to singing and stuff?
I mean, moving here and then everything shutting down was really difficult just because you couldn't get into, like, even now going into assisted living homes to play music or childcare centers. I was really motivationally driven doing stuff like that. And a huge part of my identity back in my own home community was just connecting with people. And so it made it really difficult, not to be able to do stuff like that. And so that was really hard. And I think it felt the hardest, just recently. Mm-hmm. Like, it was really difficult at the time, but, everyone was kind of going through it. So I couldn't feel sorry for myself. I was staying safe and I was healthy, so I really couldn't complain. And I was lucky enough to be able to work with people that, we all quarantined. And, mm-hmm. and then it allowed us to work together because, we had our small circle.
Right.
And so I was lucky enough to still be able to write and, create my album, which was really amazing. It was already started pre-pandemic, but It was nice that I got to finish that out. And I think it was just most difficult in the last, I would say 6 months, just coming back down, and things are still, we have a new normal. And so it was a little difficult, but I know we'll make it through it.
Of course, we all will, It's got to have that optimism, as you were saying,
Yes.
Optimism and faith. There you go. So let's go into the specifics of some songs. What was the idea behind? Was it Joker? What was the idea behind that song? Very, very slow, in my opinion, but a good kind of slow.
Thank you. So I guess why it's so slow is because I was really in my feelings, and I had gone to see the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix, and I don't know if you've seen it.
I have. I'm a fan. I know it sounds to be kind of creepy, but I like movies like that.
You know what? Me too. And
I'm sorry.
It really don't be. it really messed me up, you know, like being in that theater. And I actually went to go see it with Tanya, my best friend, and we were really messed up over it because, and I've said this many times, I hate to sound like a broken record, but it's the truth. I feel like it brought to light a lot of the things that people deal with, you know, when it comes to having mental health and, you know, how people treat them and how we treat each other. And this character, although it was a character, it was real. People deal with that stuff all the time. And I'm an empath, so when I left that movie, I was just really messed up about it. So I just sat in my room. It was like 1 a.m. I pulled out my guitar and I just kind of pressed record on my phone, and it fell out of me. Literally that night, it fell out of me. And so I think it's like really, it's emotionally heavy, and it does have, you know, a slow tempo because I was in a really, I guess, anxious, kind of depressed place after seeing that movie. And it definitely comes out in not only the lyric but the tempo as well.
Yeah, so did you start writing that right after you watched the film?
Literally that night. We got out at like 12:30 in the morning. I went home and I wrote the song. I sat in my room and I wrote it. Yeah.
Now let's transition to a more, I guess, upbeat song. That I guess it was like a month ago, and you already have like I think I wrote it down, 1.1 thousand views on YouTube. Heartless Heartbreak? Is that what it's called?
Yes, sir. Heartless Heartbreak.
Yeah, I can read my own penmanship, you know? That's a good thing as a sub. That's a good thing.
That's funny.
So what was it behind that song that like you gravitated towards? Like you were like, was it one of those where it's like you start writing and you're like, all right, this is a good change of pace?
Actually, I walked into a writing session with the intent to write something upbeat because a lot of my stuff is written when I'm more, for me, my songs are like my little diary entries. And so I'm not always writing them when I'm feeling joyous, I guess you could say. And so being someone who's focused on making writing something that, you know, I hope to do for a long time, I'm trying to broaden my horizons as a writer. And I went in with the intent to write something upbeat. And so I did.
Was it one of those where you like, all right, I got a hit here?
You know what? It felt good. And when I write music, I feel like I don't really think about that, to be honest. I'm trying to a little more now that I'm getting deeper into the songwriting world. But I find when you don't focus on making it a hit, it usually comes together. When you're chasing something like that, for me personally, it takes away from the authenticity of a song. And I feel like any song, no matter what song, genre, you can feel if it's authentic and people gravitate to that naturally.
I see you have a really big following, you know, on social media. How hard was it to get like traction online with your stuff? Right? Are you an independent artist?
I am currently independent, and you know, I'm constantly trying to be better at social media. I'm definitely a bit of an old soul when it comes to that. So running to my social platforms isn't the first thing I like to do in the morning, but...
Do you have a circle around you that helps out with stuff?
With social media stuff, I mean, a little bit. I do have a bit of guidance, but they know that I'm authentic to myself too. So, I mean, to have someone say, you should post this to make it about that, it just doesn't seem real. And one of the reasons I got into this industry is... I just want to show people that you can be yourself and that's enough. And so having someone tell me what to do when it comes to how I'm going to look or be perceived just isn't really it's not something I'm wanting to do.
Yeah, so was it something that people just liked your music and then it got passed from ear to ear? People were like, oh yeah, check her out. This is a good song. And then it just spread?
Yeah, that's a huge piece of it. And I find that because I was someone that was so insecure and talked so heavily and deeply about my insecurities, I think that helped build my following a lot too. Like for the people that knew me and knew what I was doing. And, you know, I went from wanting to be a teacher to now pursuing something that I really, at one point, I didn't think I was worthy of or good enough to do. And then I just started working at it and putting myself out there. It helped me build my following. You were saying about an album, so talk about that. Is it something that's coming out soon? I actually released it.
Did you?
Yes, like during the pandemic. And I had some people advise against putting all these songs together at once, but I really wanted to show that, I'm an artist and I wanted to release a body of work.
What's it called?
It's called This Was Then.
Okay, and how can people find it?
You can find it on all platforms just by searching my name.
There you go. That's the power of social media. Just type in letters on Google. That's it. Continue on with the story behind it, if you don't mind.
So This Was Then. Well, I decided to call the album This Was Then because I felt like I told you earlier, a lot of my songs are kind of little diary entries for me. And they were songs that I had held on to for a couple years, and I felt like I was changing as a writer and continuing to grow as a person, as we all do. And I was just ready to let go of them. I believe in energy, and I believe in, the law of attraction and all that what people like to call hoo-hoo stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that I needed to energetically release those songs in order to make room for more. And I think that it was just kind of paying onus to these songs, and, it just felt like the right thing to do. Yeah,
100%. I respect that. So let's talk about, I know probably what some of the listeners are thinking about. What's it like being, I guess, a pop singer in a country town? I mean, let's be honest. What's it like being that?
It's definitely different when you go to some of the writers' rounds, or you play a show and the person on before you is playing country and the person that goes on after you is playing country. But you know what? It's a really great music community here in Nashville, and there are a lot more genres here than just country, which is pretty amazing. It's recently, it got its name Music City, and it's considered, I think, one of the music meccas in the country. So there's a lot more than just country here, and there are some really phenomenal writers outside of the country genre, both inside and outside. But considering it's a home of country music, there's a lot more here than just that, which is pretty cool.
Do you feel it's kind of similar to New York or LA for acting? Like if you want to be an artist in the South, you go to Nashville, right? I mean, is that what it's turned into?
Yes, absolutely. And there are people coming from all over. You see them coming from Miami, from New York, from LA, because more and more, labels and stuff are opening offices here. There's so much happening, and yeah, it's a pretty great city.
So who were your inspirations musically growing up?
Definitely my grandmother, I'd have to say, the first one. I know that's probably not what you were planning to hear.
No, take it to, like I told you, take it the way you want to take it.
Yeah, so my grandma, she wrote music, and my mother grew up listening to songs she wrote, and then in turn sang them to me growing up, and I think that played a huge piece. I know it played a huge piece in my writing, because she would share these stories of what inspired the songs, and so I thought, okay, well, if something's going on, or you want to talk about it, write about it, sing about it. And so I definitely was influenced at a young age to write music. I mean, as young as 7, 6, I was writing songs, and I actually didn't know that. I don't even really have memories of it, to be honest. And then my family, they were doing renovations in the home office space, and my dad had found these old books where I had written songs and signed my grade.
Really?
Yeah, my name, and it's Megan Nadin, grade 1.
Well, it reminds me of those, I saw a meme. Are you into memes?
I am.
Did you see the meme where, do you remember those old Stennett notebooks that people used to have, where you could put your name and grade and you would see your buddy from 2 years ago?
Yes.
Did you see the meme about that?
No, I did not. You'll have to send it to me.
I forgot the actual text, but it was it was a super hard flex when you knew somebody.
Oh my God, you'll have to send it to me.
It's because I remember seeing my buddy oh yeah, he had the same teacher I did 3 years ago. What? And there's 20 kids, and I got his same book. That was real back then.
That was one of, I really enjoyed that part of school. I know it sounds so dorky, but when you see a friend that used to have the same textbook, or look back and you're I wonder when this was written, because they go back so far sometimes.
Yeah. What was the first album that you ever bought as a kid?
Spice Girls.
Yes. Which Spice Girl were you back then?
I loved Baby Spice, but I loved Baby Spice, but I loved them all.
Even the one that, even Mel B, who's on, what was she on? America's Got Talent?
Yes, she was Scary Spice.
Yeah. So what was it about them that you liked so much? Because what people don't understand is they were like legit even before TLC. Weren't they before TLC? Like they were in that same time frame, you know?
Yeah, I believe they were.
I was a big TLC fan.
I was a TLC fan. I loved the Spice Girls. I feel like I loved the Spice Girls. I was obsessed.
Yeah, was it their style, like how they dressed, or?
Yeah, I just thought it was so cool because there was like a personality that you could see, you know. There was 5 different personalities and they each had their own bit of spice, and there was one, like everyone could find at least one to relate to in one way or another, and I thought that was really cool. And then just their aesthetic, like the platform boots, and they had like a style that was just so authentic.
And they were international, so that was cool too. It was a worldly kind of group, you know?
Yeah.
But what about actually before I get there, so when did you actually have you actually done shows live? Or was this did you not start getting into your groove till after the pandemic started? Talk about that.
So I was doing a lot of live shows back in my hometown.
Okay.
I would play at events and fundraisers. I was really driven by playing at fundraisers because I want to, you know, be able to, like I was telling you before, like advocate and make change. And so I was very passionate about doing stuff like that. And I would do like mental health events, raising money for women's shelters and the shelter house and stuff like that. I did a lot of stuff in that regard. And then just my own little shows at like coffee shops and stuff like that. I was supposed to play Canada Day in my hometown. There was estimated to be about like 25,000 people.
Really?
Or to 30,000 people, and then it got rained out.
Of course.
So that one kind of stung a little bit.
I'm from Florida. I know all about rain.
I believe everything happens for a reason, though, so it all worked out as it should.
Yeah, isn't that all about life? Is, you know, you go with the good, go with the bad, you know?
Yeah.
What's that song? Never mind. Yeah. So, do you want to get signed to, let's just get right to the chase. Like, is your goal are you in any rush to get signed to a major deal, or do you like the way you're going now independently? What's your thoughts on your future, or are you just going to go wherever it takes you?
I like being independent because I like that I get to kind of, you know, make decisions. I'm not saying that people at labels don't, but it's just nice to be able to figure out myself as an artist independently before kind of going down the road of a label. But I'm definitely, who wouldn't be open to it, you know? Like, if the right fit is there, it's always nice to have a team behind you that is helping rally for you and bring things together. So it's definitely something I'm interested in. It's just about going with the flow and seeing where my music takes me.
Mm-hmm. You got any good stories? You said you were, going performing. You got any stories you can share?
Let me think. I'll tell you about a time where I met somebody. I went to this writer's round in Thunder Bay, where I'm from, and there was an older gentleman there, and it happened to be his birthday. He just turned 80, and he approached me, and he thanked me for a song that I wrote. He said it reminded him of his late wife and how much he missed her and stuff like that. Well, I ended up going to a pride rally. Not a rally, sorry. They were like, it was right before they were doing elections, and so there was a panel and people asking questions. And he happened to be there, and I was there as well. And then we were chatting, and I found out he actually used to be neighbors with my late uncle that had passed away. And we become friends, and he ended up coming to all of my shows and supporting me. And when I moved here, he'd write me letters and sent me a birthday card. And I know it's not a crazy story, but I do believe that everything happens for a reason, like I told you before. And I find it so wild that, you know, he was neighbors with my uncle, and he was going through a place where he just lost his wife, and I kind of believe that angels were in the works and brought us together.
I 100% believe that too. I believe that, there's some things that have happened in my life that's like, all right, there has to be, a reason for this. Things have happened that's like, I don't know, it's weird. Like, I'll think about something and then like all of a sudden it'll happen. It's just like,
I know. It's crazy how things work. And so that's definitely something one that pops up into my head now. I mean, another thing that was pretty special, I was asked to play at an assisted living home residence, and I was playing for seniors that had dementia, and a lot of them didn't speak or anything like that because they just really had a lot of struggles when it came to dementia and stuff like that. And so I put a set list together of songs like, Elvis and Take Me Out to the Ball Game, and just like different songs that I hope that they would know. And there were people there that started singing, like people that would never talk at all, and they were singing with me. And it was one of the most special moments, and you could tell everyone in the room was like, it was very intimate. There wasn't a bunch of people. There was probably like, I think 15 seniors, and then some of the nurses and stuff like that, and family members of the people living there. And it was just a really special moment. It was really special, when you see someone and what music can do, and it was pretty amazing. And so not being able to do stuff like that now has definitely left a bit of a space in my heart.
Yeah. Well, one of the covers, speaking of music that is influential, I saw the cover on YouTube, You Broke Me First. Why did you decide that song? Like, that was the song that I wanted to put on YouTube.
I really liked the lyrics, and I think it's very relatable. I think everyone's been in a situation where they care about someone. I mean, if you're old enough.
Yeah. It's a good song. And your performance is amazing.
Thank you so much. I really liked the song, personally, Like, I really liked listening to it, and it felt relatable and something that I've experienced. And so I wanted to kind of put my own little twist on it, and I ended up sharing it.
Well, Megan, I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you for your time. I really appreciate you having me on the show, and I had a lot of fun talking with you.
Yeah, it's awesome. So social media, where can people find you on there?
Yes, you can find me by searching my name, Megan Nadin, and there's no E at the end. The I is like an E because I'm Italian, so.
Got it. Very, very worldly person. I love it.
Why, thank you, sir.
And this has been a blast.
It really has been. Thank you so much for taking the time. I really do appreciate it.
I've tried to eliminate the cynicism with you on this,
I appreciate it, but I could have taken it.
Well, yeah. I know when and when not to, I know boundaries. I've done enough of these.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. It is. The podcast is great. I love talking to, it's been music heavy lately. It's a lot of it is people similar to you, independent artists that enjoy not having, not like you were saying, not that it's like a burden, but having the freedom to do, if I want to put this cover on there, I don't have to ask like 10 people. I can just upload it on there and do it, And I hear that part's really nice.
It is. As you start to build a team too, even though it's not a label, you start to value and respect the opinions of your team. So although there's not 10 people, I definitely have people that I confide in. They give me creative reign, but I definitely take their opinions.
Well, Megan, this has been amazing, and I super appreciate the amount of time you've given the interview tonight, and thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me, Sean. I had so much fun talking with you, and thanks for asking me to be on your show.
You take care.
Thank you. You too.
All right, there you go. Once again, I would like to thank Megan Nadin for coming on the podcast today. Before I go any further, back on August 29th, I posted an album cover on Instagram, which you can follow, Sensibly Cynical Pod. What rock band had this cover for an album? It was the album Siamese Dreams by legendary rock band Smashing Pumpkins. Somebody named it It's a Lulladay. You know, Dolores Gibbs, she was on the podcast not too long ago. So there's your shout out. It's awesome connecting with you, and thank you everyone for listening to this episode. Please subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes. Also, check us out on the aforementioned Instagram at Sensibly Cynical Pod, like I just said, Twitter at Cynical Sensibly, and check out our Facebook group. I have more awesome interviews lined up, so be on the lookout for those. Take it easy, guys.